Something in your spirit has been stirring. Something in your heart has been whispering. You cannot explain it fully, but deep within, you know that change is coming. You sense that the ground beneath you is shifting. The air around you feels different, and your soul feels as if it is being prepared for something greater than you can see right now. That is not your imagination. That is not a random thought. That is God telling you in advance, something big is coming. God does not leave His people blind. He does not allow you to walk into destiny without first planting a seed of anticipation within you. That stirring you feel is heaven's announcement. That restlessness in your heart is divine preparation. God is sending you a signal that He is about to move in your life in a way that will surprise not only you, but everyone around you. When God is about to do something extraordinary, He often reveals it to you in small, quiet ways first. It may be a dream that lingers, a thought that will not leave, an unusual hunger for change, or an unshakable sense that your current season is ending. You may not have all the details, but you know something is shifting. That is God warning you, preparing you, equipping you for what is ahead. He does not surprise His people without first placing hints in their spirit. And if you are discerning enough to notice those hints, then you must get ready, because what is coming is greater than anything you have faced before. Do not dismiss the restlessness in your heart. Do not ignore the inner voice telling you to rise higher. Do not silence the longing for something greater. These are not distractions. They are signals. They are like divine alarms, sounding within your spirit, urging you to wake up and pay attention. God is saying to you, I am about to do something new. Do not cling to the old. Do not be comfortable in the familiar. Something big is on the horizon. And when God declares something big is coming, no force on earth can stop it. But here is the challenge: when God warns you in advance, it is often in a season when nothing looks like change. You may still be in the same job, living in the same home, surrounded by the same struggles, carrying the same burdens. On the outside, everything looks ordinary. But inside, you know God is calling you to prepare for the extraordinary. This is where faith is tested. Will you trust what you sense in your spirit more than what you see with your eyes? Will you believe that God is setting the stage, even when the stage looks empty? Faith is not about waiting for visible evidence. It is about acting on God's invisible voice. When God tells you something big is coming, He is not just giving you information. He is calling you into preparation. Preparation is the proof of expectation. If you truly believe something big is coming, you will start adjusting your life to align with it. You will let go of the things that weigh you down. You will detach from people who drain your spirit. You will silence the voices of doubt and fear. You will cleanse your heart of bitterness and unforgiveness. Why? Because you cannot carry yesterday's baggage into tomorrow's blessing. God warns you in advance, so you have time to prepare, to purify, to position yourself for the next season. Think of it like a seed planted in the soil. When you place a seed in the ground, nothing looks different on the surface. The soil looks the same. The ground looks unchanged, but hidden beneath the surface, life is forming. Growth is happening. Roots are spreading. And suddenly, one day, the breakthrough comes, and everyone sees what was happening all along. This is how God works in your life. He tells you something big is coming, while everything still looks ordinary, because He wants you to trust the unseen process. If you only believe, when you see, you will miss the beauty of the unseen work God is already doing. Many people miss the move of God because they dismiss the preparation. They want the blessing, but resist the process. They want the breakthrough, but ignore the warning signs. They want the promise, but avoid the pruning. But hear me clearly. When God tells you something big is coming, He is not just promising you a gift. He is shaping you into someone who can carry that gift. Without preparation, blessings can become burdens. Without growth, opportunities can destroy you. God loves you too much to give you something your character cannot sustain. That is why He warns you early, so you can rise to the level of the destiny He has prepared for you. You must also understand that when God announces something big is coming, opposition will often rise. The enemy fears what you are about to step into. He fears the influence, the impact, the testimony that will flow out of your breakthrough. So do not be surprised if distractions increase. Do not be shocked if obstacles appear. Do not be discouraged if people suddenly turn against you. The storm is often loudest right before the calm. The darkness is often thickest right before the dawn. The struggle intensifies because the enemy knows what God has already spoken. Something big is coming. Do not interpret opposition as a sign to quit. Interpret it as confirmation that you are close. When God speaks in advance, it is also an invitation for deeper trust. He is saying, do not wait until you see it to believe it. Believe it now. True faith does not celebrate only after the victory. It celebrates before the victory arrives. It dances in the silence. It rejoices in the waiting. It praises in the unknown. When you live like this, you are declaring, God, I do not just trust you when I hold the promise. I trust you when I only hear the whisper. That kind of faith pleases God, and it accelerates His work in your life. Do not measure the magnitude of what is coming by the size of your present resources. God never calls you to something that matches your strength. He calls you to something that requires His strength. If what is coming feels bigger than you, that is because it is. It is meant to stretch you, to elevate you, to draw you deeper into reliance on God. Do not shrink back because it looks impossible. Instead, rise with boldness, because the impossible is where God shows His power most clearly. If you could do it on your own, you would not need Him. But because it is greater than you, you will see His hand carry you in ways you never imagined. Perhaps right now you feel unqualified. You feel too broken, too small, too overlooked. But when God says something big is coming, He is not asking for your qualifications. He is not looking at your resume. He is looking at your heart. If your heart is willing, if your spirit is surrendered, if your faith is alive, then you are ready for what He is about to release. God has always chosen the unlikely to do the extraordinary. He takes the overlooked and makes them vessels of greatness. He takes the rejected and places them in positions of influence. So do not disqualify yourself when God has already qualified you. Listen carefully, God is not just preparing a blessing for you. He is preparing you for the blessing. Something big is not just about what you will receive. It is about who you will become. God is shaping your character, refining your heart, sharpening your vision. Every delay, every disappointment, every closed door has been part of the preparation. You thought it was punishment, but it was positioning. You thought it was rejection, but it was redirection. God has been arranging every detail, even the painful ones, to make you ready for the moment when everything shifts. And when that shift comes, it will come suddenly. It may feel like nothing is changing for years. And then in a single moment, everything will turn. That is how God works. He spends time building in silence, then reveals in power. Do not despise the waiting. It is sacred. Do not curse the silence. It is preparation. Do not grow weary in the delay. It is the evidence that something big is indeed on its way. God is telling you in advance, because He does not want you to be unprepared. He wants you to live alert, watchful, expectant. He wants your faith sharpened, your heart cleansed, your spirit ready. When the moment comes, it will not be a time for hesitation. It will be a time for action. Those who are prepared will step into the fullness of what God has promised. Those who ignore the warnings will watch opportunities pass them by. Which will you be? Do not let fear rob you of what is coming. Fear will try to convince you that you are not ready, not capable, not worthy. But trust in God silences fear. Trust says, if God has spoken it, then God will also sustain me through it. Do not let doubt steal your anticipation. Doubt will try to tell you that you heard wrong, that nothing will change, that life will always be the same. But faith rises up and says, I know my God, and if He has whispered it to my spirit, I will hold on to it until it becomes reality. Something big is on the horizon. You cannot see all the details yet, but God is already arranging them. You cannot understand the full picture yet, but God has already painted it. Your role is simple. Trust Him. Prepare yourself and stay faithful. Because when the moment arrives, it will be too late to start preparing. The time to get ready is now. God is telling you in advance so that when the breakthrough comes, you will not be shocked. You will be ready to walk into it with confidence, knowing this is what He has been preparing you for all along. When God begins to stir your spirit with whispers of something coming, it is not a small matter. It is not a coincidence, nor is it just your imagination. It is divine preparation. God never speaks without purpose. If He places an uneasiness, an anticipation, or a stirring within you, it is because He wants you to lift your eyes higher and prepare your heart deeper. He knows what is ahead, and He loves you too much to leave you unprepared. That stirring is His signal, His warning, His encouragement. Something is about to shift. Many times, before the dawn breaks, the night grows darker. Before the harvest, the soil must be broken. Before the blessing, the heart must be tested. When you feel God is telling you in advance that something big is coming, you must understand that He is both warning you and encouraging you. He warns you so you are not caught unaware. And He encourages you so you can endure the process until the promise arrives. God is not trying to scare you. He is trying to strengthen you. When you sense the heaviness of waiting, when you feel the weight of transition, do not misinterpret it as failure. It is not that God has forgotten you. It is that He is preparing you for what eyes have not seen and ears have not heard. Think of the seed buried underground. For a time, it looks lifeless, unseen, hidden in the soil. But under the surface, there is life, growth, and preparation for a mighty sprout. God does the same with you. When He tells you in advance, prepare, for something big is coming. He is planting the seed of faith within your spirit so you can withstand the darkness of waiting until the light of fulfillment breaks forth. God tells you in advance because He wants you to stand in faith and not crumble in fear. Imagine walking into a storm unaware. It strikes you suddenly and you stumble. But imagine God whispering beforehand, "A storm is coming, but I am with you." That whisper changes everything. Instead of fear, you brace yourself. Instead of panic, you anchor yourself. Instead of despair, you hold on to the assurance that the storm is not the end. It is only a passage to the greater thing God has promised. Do not underestimate the importance of advance warning. God is giving you the advantage of preparation. He is saying, do not live carelessly. Do not drift with the crowd. Do not waste this moment. I am about to do something, but I need your heart awake and your spirit ready. Many lose the blessing not because God did not prepare it, but because they were not ready when it arrived. God is calling you now to sharpen your faith, deepen your prayer, and strengthen your trust, for the coming season requires a stronger version of you. Hear me clearly. When God tells you something big is coming, it is always bigger than your own imagination. It is not merely about material things, though He can bless you with abundance. It is not just about external changes, though He can open doors no one can shut. It is about transformation, elevation, and alignment with His divine will. God's plans for you are never small, and when He gives you a glimpse in advance, it is a sign that you are being invited into something beyond your human comprehension. This is why you must guard your heart in this season. Do not allow doubt to creep in. Do not let fear silence the voice of faith. When others around you cannot see what you see, do not be discouraged. God did not speak to them. He spoke to you. He did not place the anticipation in their spirit. He placed it in yours. You must carry it with reverence like a sacred flame. Protect it from the winds of negativity and the rains of doubt. Keep it alive with prayer, with worship, with unshakable trust in God's timing. And remember, God never rushes. If He tells you in advance, it is because His plan requires development. Do not mistake the delay for denial. The bigger the blessing, the deeper the preparation. The higher the calling, the stronger the foundation must be. You cannot build a skyscraper on shallow soil. Likewise, God will not build your destiny on a fragile foundation. He must deepen your roots, strengthen your character, and refine your faith before releasing the big thing He has spoken about. Do not resist this preparation. Welcome it. Embrace it. Every struggle, Every tear, every test you face in this season is shaping you for what God has ahead. If He tells you something big is coming, it is because He believes you are worthy to receive it. But you must first prove that you can carry it. The weight of greatness requires strong shoulders of faith. The responsibility of blessing requires a disciplined heart. The honor of destiny requires an unshakable trust in God. Therefore, lift up your head. Do not live like someone with no direction. God has already told you something big is on the horizon. That means your story is not finished. That means your pain is not wasted. That means your faith is not in vain. Hold on with both hands, for the same God who spoke it in advance is the same God who will bring it to pass. When God declares in your spirit that something big is coming, it is not meant to be a casual thought you brush aside. It is a divine signal that demands your attention, your preparation, and your obedience. God does not waste words. Every whisper, every stirring, every divine nudge is intentional, carefully placed in your heart to align you with His greater plan. This is not about coincidence, this is about destiny. When God speaks in advance, it is because He is inviting you to step into partnership with Him, to walk with expectation and to train your eyes to see beyond the limitations of the present. Understand this: God sees the end from the beginning. He knows the outcome long before you take the first step. When He tells you that something big is coming, it means He has already completed in His plan. It is already settled in His divine timeline. The only question is whether you will align yourself in faith so that you can step into it. Faith is the bridge between His promise and your reality. Without faith, you will hear the promise but miss the fulfillment. But with faith, even when circumstances shout the opposite, you will hold firm because you trust that God cannot lie and cannot fail. One of the greatest mistakes people make is to hear the whisper of God, to feel that stirring in their soul, but then allow fear, doubt, or distraction to rob them of it. Do not make that mistake. If God has told you something big is coming, cling to it like your very life depends on it. Guard it as a sacred treasure. Speak it back to Him in prayer. Remind yourself daily that the God who spoke the heavens into existence is the same God who is preparing this promise for you. The waiting is not punishment, it is positioning. The delay is not denial, it is divine timing. The stretching you feel is not abandonment, it is preparation. Do not be surprised if your environment begins to feel uncomfortable when God is preparing you for something greater. Often, He shakes what is familiar so that you will not cling to it. He unsettles the ground beneath your feet so you will not plant yourself too deeply in the wrong place. He closes doors you thought would always remain open so that you will be forced to trust Him and not your own plans. This discomfort is not cruelty, it is mercy. God knows that if He does not unsettle you, you will miss the greater thing He has prepared. Think of the eagle with its young. When the time comes for the eaglet to fly, the mother begins to make the nest uncomfortable, removing the soft layers and exposing the thorns beneath. Why? Because if the eaglet remains comfortable, it will never stretch its wings. In the same way, when God tells you something big is coming, He may begin to strip away your comfort zones. Relationships may shift. Opportunities may change. Places where you once felt at ease may now feel unsettling. Do not resist it. This is God stirring your nest, preparing you to soar higher. When God speaks in advance, it is also a test of stewardship. What will you do with the word you have received? Will you bury it under fear, or will you water it with faith? Will you let others talk you out of it, or will you stand firm even when no one else believes? God is watching how you respond, because how you treat the promise determines whether you are ready to carry the fulfillment. The promise is not just a gift, it is also a responsibility. To be trusted with more, you must prove faithful with what you have now. Let me tell you this truth: the bigger the thing God is preparing, the greater the opposition you may face. The enemy of your soul does not want you to step into your destiny. He will attack your mind, trying to convince you that you imagined it. He will use people to discourage you, situations to wear you down, and delays to tempt you into giving up. But do not be deceived. Opposition is not a sign that you misheard God. It is often the clearest sign that you heard Him correctly. The enemy only fights what he fears. If the battle has intensified, it is because the blessing is near. This is why you must remain anchored in God and unmoved by circumstance. When the storms rage, let your heart be still, knowing that the one who controls the winds has already spoken a word over your life. When doubts creep in, silence them with the truth that God is faithful. When weariness tries to break you, remind yourself that those who wait upon God will renew their strength, mount up with wings like eagles, run and not be weary, walk and not faint. God is your strength, your shield, and your guarantee. And remember this: God is not a God of confusion. If He has told you something big is coming, He will confirm it. You will see signs. You will feel the alignment of events. You will witness doors opening at just the right time. Do not demand that He reveal every detail, for faith is not about seeing everything clearly. Faith is about trusting even when you cannot trace His hand. But He will give you enough assurance to keep you moving, enough light for the next step, and enough peace to quiet your anxious heart. So rise up in faith. Do not treat this word lightly. If God has told you in advance, it means He has chosen you to carry this promise. Live as if it is already on its way. Pray with confidence. Speak with expectation. Walk with assurance. Let your life reflect the certainty that the God who spoke this word is faithful to bring it to pass. The world may look at you and see nothing, but you know what God has whispered in your soul. Hold on to it, for in His perfect timing, it will come to pass, and all will know that the hand of God has been upon you. When God tells you in advance that something big is coming, it is not a message to be ignored. It is a divine summons to rise, to believe, to prepare your heart for the extraordinary. You are not standing in an ordinary moment. You are standing on the threshold of a season that can redefine your entire life. God is not playing with your emotions. He is building your faith. He is not teasing you with vague promises. He is calling you to trust Him more deeply than you ever have before. This is not about chance. It is about destiny. So I ask you, will you stand idle, doubting the whispers of God? Or will you rise in bold faith and act as if His word is already reality? Will you let fear silence your conviction, or will you speak with courage that the God who holds the universe has already prepared your future? Will you shrink back into the shadows of uncertainty, or will you walk forward with your head lifted, knowing that the one who spoke to you is the same one who will bring it to pass? This is your moment to anchor your soul in trust, to stop living small and start living with expectation, to refuse the language of defeat and embrace the posture of victory. God is telling you in advance so that when the day comes, you will not say, "I was surprised," but rather, "I was ready." He is giving you the dignity of preparation, the strength of anticipation, and the courage of faith. Do not live another day as though nothing is happening. Something is happening. Something is shifting. Something is moving in the unseen, and God Himself is aligning the pieces. Stand tall, hold fast, walk faithfully. Let your life declare, even before you see it, that you believe in the power of God's word. And when it comes, and it will come, you will stand as a living testimony that those who trust in God are never disappointed. Now go forth, not in fear, but in faith. Not in hesitation, but in expectation. Not in weakness, but in the strength of the Almighty. For God has already whispered it, something big is coming. Prepare your heart, ready your spirit, and dare to believe, because the future He has spoken over you is greater than anything you can imagine. When everything around you seems to be falling apart, when the ground beneath your feet feels like it is breaking, when the voices in your mind scream louder than the peace in your heart, that is the very moment you must choose. Will you collapse under the weight of fear? Or will you stand in unshakable trust in God? The world may be loud. Your circumstances may look impossible. Your heart may feel broken beyond repair. But listen carefully. God has not abandoned you. Even in the darkest storm, even when everything feels out of control, God is still in control. This is the truth you must anchor your soul to, because without it, you will drift into despair. With it, you will rise with strength that cannot be explained by human reasoning. Every person will face moments when control slips from their hands. No matter how powerful, how wise, or how prepared you think you are, there comes a time when life unravels before your eyes. The plans you made collapse, the doors you counted on shut, the relationships you leaned on break, and suddenly you are faced with a void you never expected. It is in those very moments that the temptation to fear is greatest. Fear tells you, you are alone. No one sees you. No one can help you. But trust in God silences that fear with one thunderous truth. God is here. God sees you. God holds you. God will never fail you. You may not control the chaos, but God controls the universe. And if God controls the universe, then your storm is not greater than His power. You must understand this with the deepest conviction. Trusting God is not an option in times of crisis. It is the very foundation of survival. Without trust in God, the winds of despair will tear you apart. Without trust in God, every disappointment will crush your spirit. Without trust in God, you will drown in your own confusion. But with trust in God, You can face the impossible with confidence, with trust in God. You can walk through fire without being consumed. With trust in God, you can hold your peace when the whole world shakes, because you know something greater than what your eyes see. You know that God is greater than every obstacle before you. Many people only trust God when life is smooth, when money is in their pockets, when health is in their body, when friends surround them, when everything is predictable. Then they say, I trust God. But true trust is not tested in comfort. True trust is tested in chaos. When the bills are due and you have no way to pay them, will you trust God? When your health fails and doctors give no answers, will you trust God? When those closest to you betray you, will you trust God? When every plan you made shatters into pieces, will you trust God? Trust is not born in ease, it is born in fire. And those who pass through the fire with unwavering trust will come out unshakable, unstoppable, unbreakable, because their confidence is not in what they see, but in the one who rules what cannot be seen. Do not be deceived by your emotions. Your feelings may betray you. Fear may rise like a flood. Anxiety may whisper that you are finished. Doubt may creep in like a shadow. But feelings do not determine truth. The truth is that God has not changed. God has not lost his power. God has not left the throne. God is not confused about your future. When you cannot see the way forward, God already has the path laid out. When you do not understand the purpose of your pain, God already knows the blessing hidden inside it. When you are weak and exhausted, God is still strong and mighty. Trusting God means leaning on his eternal stability when everything in your life feels unstable. There will be moments when the silence of God feels unbearable. You pray and nothing seems to change. You cry and no answer comes. You look for a sign, but the heavens seem closed. That silence is the testing ground of your trust. Will you still believe that God is working when you cannot see his hand? Will you still believe that God is near when you cannot feel his presence? Will you still believe that God is faithful when everything looks like failure? Trusting God in silence is one of the greatest acts of faith, because it declares, even if I cannot hear, I will still believe. Even if I cannot see, I will still walk forward. Even if I cannot feel, I will still know God is with me. That level of trust shakes the foundations of despair and unleashes strength that the world cannot explain. Think of your life like a tapestry being woven by God's hand. From your perspective, you only see the knots, the tangled threads, the messy underside of the cloth. It looks chaotic, purposeless, confusing. But from God's perspective, the design is perfect, beautiful, complete. What looks like chaos to you is order in the hands of God. What looks like pain to you is preparation in the plan of God. What looks like loss to you is positioning in the wisdom of God. This is why you must trust him even when nothing makes sense. Because when he turns the tapestry over, when he reveals the side he has been working on, you will see that every tear, every disappointment, every delay, every heartbreak was part of a pattern more beautiful than you could have imagined. The enemy wants you to doubt. The enemy wants you to question. The enemy wants you to believe that because life is out of your control, it is also out of God's control. But that is a lie. Nothing escapes God's authority. Nothing bypasses His sight. Nothing overrides His will. If the storm rages, it is because God allowed it. And if He allowed it, it is not to destroy you, but to strengthen you. If doors closed, it is because God shut them. And if He shut them, it is because He has a greater door waiting to open. If people walked away, it is because God removed them. And if He removed them, it is because they could not go where He is taking you. Trusting God means believing that every shift, every loss, every change is divinely orchestrated for your good, even when it feels painful in the moment. You see, control is an illusion. You never had control to begin with. You thought you controlled your career, but a single decision by someone else can change everything. You thought you controlled your health, but one unexpected diagnosis can alter your entire life. You thought you controlled your relationships, but people's choices are beyond your grasp. What you call control is fragile, temporary, uncertain. But God's control is eternal, unshakable, absolute. This is why trusting Him is freedom. Because you stop carrying the burden of trying to control what you were never meant to carry. You release it into the hands of the one who already holds it all. And in that release, you find peace, rest, and strength that human effort can never give. Trusting God does not mean you will never cry. Trusting God does not mean you will never feel weak. Trusting God does not mean you will never face fear. Trusting God means that even in your tears, you believe He is your comfort. Even in your weakness, you believe He is your strength. Even in your fear, you believe He is your shield. It is not about pretending life is easy. It is about declaring that even when life is crushing, God is greater. That declaration, spoken with faith, opens doors no man can shut. That declaration lifts your spirit when nothing else can. That declaration places you in alignment with God's power, and nothing in this world can stand against it. Look back at your own life. Think of the moments you thought you would not survive, yet here you are. Think of the nights you cried, yet morning still came. Think of the doors that shut, yet others opened. Think of the times you thought you were finished, yet somehow you were lifted up again. Who carried you? Who sustained you? Who made a way when there was no way? It was God. And if God has done it before, He will do it again. The same God who held you yesterday is holding you today, and He will hold you tomorrow. This is the certainty of trust. Not in your ability to control, but in God's faithfulness to never let go. When everything feels out of control, declare this over your life: God is my anchor. God is my refuge. God is my strength. God is my guide. God is my hope. Speak it until your spirit believes it. Speak it until your fear bows to it. Speak it until your mind aligns with it. The power of trust is not silent. It is a weapon you must use against despair. When your situation screams chaos, let your trust scream louder. God is still in control. When the storm rages and the waves rise higher than your strength, you must remember this one truth: you are not called to master the storm. You are called to trust the one who rules over it. Your strength will fail. Your wisdom will falter. Your resources will run out. But God has no limits, no weakness, no end. The moment you realize this, your burden becomes lighter. You are not the savior of your life. You are not the one holding the universe together. You are not the one who must control every detail of tomorrow. That power belongs to God alone. And when you surrender to Him, when you allow your heart to rest in His authority, you find a freedom this world cannot take from you. Trust is not just believing that God exists. It is living as if God truly reigns. Many say they believe, but their actions reveal fear, doubt, and self-dependence. They try to fix everything with their own hands, and when they fail, they collapse. But those who trust in God walk differently. They do not panic when others panic. They do not fall when others fall. They do not fear when others fear. Why? Because they know something greater. God holds the final word. What He decides cannot be overturned. What He establishes cannot be destroyed. What He declares cannot be reversed. Trusting God is not passive. It is active courage in the face of impossibility. It is looking at the fire and saying, I will not be consumed, for God is my protector. It is looking at the sea and saying, I will not drown, for God is my deliverer. When your life feels like it is unraveling, you must refuse to interpret your circumstances as abandonment. Too many fall into despair because they think difficulty means God has left them. But hear this with all your heart. The presence of struggle does not mean the absence of God. In fact, some of the greatest displays of God's power come in the moments of your greatest weakness. It is in the wilderness where faith is refined. It is in the valley where trust becomes unshakable. It is in the night where the light of God shines brightest. If you only see Him in blessing, you will miss Him in battle. But if you trust Him in both, you will never be shaken, because you will know that He is not just the God of peace, but the God of storms as well. You must rise above the illusion of control. The more you try to control, the more frustrated you will become. Life is too unpredictable for you to manage every detail. People will disappoint you. Situations will shift. Plans will collapse. And the harder you cling to them, the more you will break. Trust in God requires release. The release of your grip on what you cannot change. Let go of the need to understand every detail. Let go of the need to predict tomorrow. Let go of the need to carry what only God can carry. This release is not weakness. It is wisdom. For when you release what you cannot control, you place it in the hands of the one who controls everything. And when God holds it, it is secure. Fear thrives in uncertainty. Anxiety grows in the soil of the unknown, but trust uproots both. Trust declares, even if I do not know the outcome, I know my God. Trust says, even if I cannot see the path, I know the one who guides me. Trust whispers in the silence, God has not forgotten me. And this whisper is more powerful than the loudest roar of fear, because fear speaks of what might happen, but trust speaks of who God is. And who God is never changes. He is eternal, unshakable, all-powerful. His nature is your anchor when the future is uncertain. Listen closely. Trusting God is not about ignoring reality. It is about seeing a higher reality. You may see lack, but God is abundance. You may see weakness, but God is strength. You may see darkness, but God is light. You may see chaos, but God is order. Faith does not deny what is in front of you. It simply refuses to let what is in front of you define the final truth. The final truth belongs to God. And when you anchor yourself in His truth, you stop living by sight and start living by conviction. There will be times when your trust in God will offend those around you. People may call you foolish for believing when everything looks hopeless. They may mock your faith because they only trust in what they can see. But hear me well, never trade your trust in God for the approval of people. People are limited, people are fragile, people change. But God remains forever. When you trust Him, even if everyone abandons you, you will still stand victorious, because God will never forsake those who put their confidence in Him. Trusting God requires patience. And patience is one of the hardest tests of faith. We live in a world that demands instant results, instant answers, instant solutions. But God does not operate according to your deadlines. He moves according to His perfect timing. And though His timing may frustrate your flesh, it is always flawless. When you rush, you miss the preparation. When you force, you damage the process. But when you wait, you allow God to complete the work in you and around you. Trusting God in the waiting is one of the purest forms of surrender, because it proves you believe He is wise enough to act at the perfect moment. You must also remember this: trust is not passive resignation, it is active alignment. It means you keep walking even when you do not see the full map. It means you keep sowing seeds of faith even when you do not yet see the harvest. It means you keep praying, keep moving, keep believing, not because circumstances look favorable, but because you know God is faithful. Trust is movement with confidence in the unseen. It is the refusal to be paralyzed by fear. It is the determination to walk forward, even if you can only see one step at a time, because you know that if God has given you the step, He will also provide the ground beneath your feet. When everything feels out of control, remind yourself of who God is. Speak it aloud until your soul remembers. Say, God is my refuge, my shield, my fortress, my light, my guide, my strength. Let these words saturate your mind until they silence every lie of fear. Let them fill your spirit until your heart beats with courage. Trust is not just a thought, it is a declaration. It is a weapon you use against despair. And the more you declare it, the stronger you become. Look at the stories of those who trusted God before you. Men and women who faced overwhelming battles, yet chose to believe. Their circumstances were no less chaotic than yours. Their struggles were no less intense. Yet their trust became the bridge between despair and victory. What set them apart was not their strength, but their surrender. They knew that their lives were not theirs to control. They belonged to God. And because of this, they saw miracles that defied reason, breakthroughs that surpassed expectation, victories that silenced the enemy. This same God is your God. And if He has done it for them, He will do it for you. Now hear this with all conviction. The enemy cannot destroy a heart that trusts in God. The storm may rage, but it will not drown you. The fire may burn, but it will not consume you. The darkness may press, but it will not suffocate you. Why? Because trust builds an unbreakable shield around your spirit. Trust lifts you above the chaos and sets your feet on solid ground. Trust anchors you to eternal truth. When temporary circumstances scream lies, trust turns impossible situations into testimonies of God's greatness. So when everything feels out of control, do not cling to what is fading. Cling to the eternal. Do not cling to your own strength. It will fail. Do not cling to people. They may abandon you. Do not cling to possessions. They can be taken away. Cling to God alone, for He is unshakable, unchanging, everlasting. The world may tremble, but God does not tremble. The world may collapse, but God does not collapse. The world may turn upside down, but God remains steady. When you root yourself in Him, you will not only survive the storm, you will rise from it stronger, purer, and more unshakable than ever before. When life feels like it is spinning out of control, you must resist the temptation to let panic dictate your choices. Panic is the language of fear, but trust is the language of faith. Panic blinds you, it makes you react recklessly, it pushes you into decisions that you later regret. But trust in God steadies your spirit. It clears your vision. It brings wisdom into your heart even in the midst of chaos. Trusting God does not mean you will always understand, but it means you will always have direction. Even when you are surrounded by noise, there is a voice of peace that whispers to your heart, saying, "Stand still, I am with you." That is the voice of God. And when you trust Him, that voice becomes louder than the roar of the storm. You must also realize that trusting God is not just for the moments of despair. It is for every day. If you only turn to God when the world falls apart, then your trust is reactive, not rooted. But when you trust Him in the small details, when you acknowledge Him in your daily choices, when you lean on Him before you lean on yourself, then when the great storms come, your spirit will already be trained to rest in Him. Trust is not built in a moment. It is cultivated in a lifestyle. A life that constantly places God at the center will not collapse when everything else shakes. There is a great lie that whispers into the hearts of many when life unravels. If you were stronger, this would not have happened. If you were smarter, you could have avoided this. If you had more power, you would be in control. But do not fall into that trap. The measure of your strength is not in avoiding chaos. It is in who you trust when chaos arrives. You were never designed to carry the weight of the world. That burden belongs to God. True wisdom is not in pretending you can do everything. It is in knowing you cannot and surrendering to the one who can. Trust in God is the most powerful admission of strength because it humbles your pride and lifts your soul into divine alignment. Trusting God when everything feels out of control also teaches you something that nothing else can. The power of surrender. Surrender is not defeat. Surrender is not weakness. Surrender is the greatest victory because it is the decision to step aside and let God step in. When you surrender, you are saying, God, I release my limited plans for your unlimited wisdom. I release my fragile control for your perfect authority. I release my anxiety for your peace. That surrender shifts the weight from your shoulders onto His, and His shoulders are strong enough to carry all things. One of the greatest dangers when life feels uncontrollable is the desire to escape. Many people When faced with pain or uncertainty, run toward distraction, toward addictions, toward anything that numbs their fear. But that is a counterfeit refuge. It offers temporary relief, but deeper emptiness. Trusting God is the opposite of escape. It is entering into His presence with honesty and faith. It is saying, I will not run away from my pain. I will run toward the God who heals. When you place your trust in Him, you no longer need false escapes, because His presence becomes your refuge, your fortress, your stronghold in times of trouble. Trust also transforms how you see setbacks. When something fails, when a door closes, when people walk away, the natural reaction is to feel defeated. But those who trust in God do not see setbacks as endings. They see them as redirections. If a door closed, it was not your door. If a plan failed, it was not your plan. If someone left, they were not meant to walk into the future God is building for you. Trusting God teaches you to stop mourning over what you lost and start expecting what is yet to come. Because when God removes something, He always replaces it with something better. His plans are not random. His timing is not flawed. When you live in trust, every ending is simply a beginning disguised in mystery. And understand this, trust does not just affect your circumstances, it transforms your inner world. Anxiety cannot coexist with trust. Fear cannot dominate a trusting heart. Hopelessness cannot survive in a soul anchored to God. Trust rewires your very being. It gives you calm in crisis, clarity in confusion, and courage in confrontation. It is not about pretending life is easy. It is about possessing an inner strength that nothing external can shake. People will wonder how you can still smile, still stand, still move forward when everything seems against you. And the answer will be simple. It is not my strength, it is my trust in God. When everything feels out of control, trusting God also teaches you endurance. It reminds you that your story is not finished. Just because today is heavy does not mean tomorrow will not be lighter. Just because the night is long does not mean the morning will not come. Trust gives you the power to hold on when giving up feels easier. It whispers into your heart, this is not the end. God is still writing. And that endurance produces character, and that character produces unshakable hope. Without trust, you collapse in the waiting. With trust, you are strengthened in the waiting. Now let me tell you this, trusting God when everything feels out of control is not just about you. It is about the generations after you. When you choose to trust, you plant a seed of faith that will bear fruit in the lives of those who watch you. Your children, your family, your friends, your community, they will see your strength, they will see your peace, they will see your courage, and they will know it is not human. They will know it comes from God. Your trust becomes a testimony that inspires others to trust. You may think you are simply surviving your storm, but in reality, you are showing someone else how to survive theirs. This is the power of living a life anchored in trust. It multiplies beyond you and blesses others. Finally, trust in God is the great equalizer of life. Rich or poor, young or old, strong or weak, every soul will face moments that strip them of control. In those moments, it is not your status, not your wealth, not your intellect that will sustain you. It is your trust in God. That trust places you on unshakable ground. It aligns you with eternal truth. It secures you in divine authority. When you have that, you are unbreakable. Not because you control life, but because the one who controls life is holding you. When life presses you to the ground, when your strength is gone, when every voice around you says, it's over, that is the very moment you must lift your heart and declare, it is not over, because God is still in control. You may not understand the path, but you can trust the one who carved it. You may not see the end, but you can trust the one who holds it. You may feel small in the face of your storm, but your storm is small in the hands of God. So I challenge you now. Do not walk another day carrying the illusion that you must hold everything together. Lay it down. Release the grip. Let the God who created you also sustain you. Let the God who spoke the stars into being also speak peace into your chaos. Stop looking at what you cannot change and start trusting the one who changes everything. Ask yourself tonight, will you live in fear or will you live in trust? Will you allow circumstances to dictate your heart, or will you allow God to steady it? Will you crumble under the weight of uncertainty, or will you rise with the courage of faith? The choice is yours, but the power is His. Go forward with this truth burning inside of you. No matter how out of control life feels, God has never lost control, not for 1 second. He is guiding you, shaping you, preparing you, and positioning you for something greater than you can imagine. Stand tall, walk boldly, trust fully, and let your life become a living testimony that even in the fiercest storm, those who trust in God cannot be broken. Now rise with faith, live with courage, and trust with all your heart. For the one who holds the universe also holds you. And He will never let you go. Do you know what your greatest weapon is in the middle of your pain, in the middle of your tears, in the middle of your confusion? It is not your knowledge, not your strength, not your resources. It is your trust in God. When everything around you is collapsing, when people betray you, when money runs out, when health fails, when doors close, when the future looks dark, there is one unshakable truth that will never abandon you. God is still in control. And when you put your trust in Him, He will fix your situation. Not maybe, not sometimes, not if things align perfectly. No, when you put your whole trust in God, He will act, He will move, He will transform, He will heal, and He will restore what seems broken beyond repair. You see, life has a way of teaching us that we are not as strong as we think we are. One phone call can shake your entire world. One unexpected event can wipe away years of hard work. One betrayal can crush your heart into pieces. One sickness can steal your strength. And in those moments, you discover the limits of human power. But that is not a place of defeat. It is a place of revelation. Because when human power fails, the power of God begins to shine. When your hands cannot hold it together, His hands are more than enough to rebuild what you thought was gone forever. So many people today live with hidden fears, hidden anxieties, hidden frustrations. On the outside, they smile, they talk, they pretend everything is fine. But inside, they are trembling. They don't know how tomorrow will look. They don't know how they will pay their bills. They don't know how to heal from the pain of rejection. They don't know how to overcome the mistakes of yesterday. And yet, the truth is that you were never meant to carry that burden alone. God is not asking you to solve every problem with your limited strength. He is asking you to trust Him. To trust Him enough to hand over the broken pieces of your life and believe that He will make them whole again. Do you know why so many people suffer longer than they should? It's not because God is absent. It's not because God is silent. It's not because God is powerless. It's because they refuse to let go. They keep clutching the pain. They keep clinging to their fears. They keep analyzing their problems as if they can solve them by worrying day and night. But worry is a prison and fear is a thief. The longer you hold on to your problem, the longer you block the hand of God from fixing it. But the moment you say, but I cannot carry this anymore, I place it into your hands, I trust you with it, that is the moment His power begins to move in ways you cannot imagine. Think of the situations in your life that you thought were permanent. The moments you said, this is it. I will never rise again. I will never smile again. I will never recover. And yet somehow you are still here. Somehow you are still breathing. Somehow the pain that should have destroyed you became the very ground where your strength was born. That is the fingerprint of God. That is the proof that your story is not in the hands of men, not in the hands of circumstances, but in the hands of God Almighty. But hear me clearly, trust is not passive. Trust is not sitting down, doing nothing, and waiting for God to deliver everything on a silver plate. Trust is active faith. Trust is surrender with expectation. Trust is saying, God, I don't see the way, but I believe you are making one. I don't feel strong, but I know you are my strength. I don't have the answers, but I know you are wisdom itself. I don't see the resources, but I know you are my provider. That kind of trust turns fear into courage, confusion into clarity, and impossibility into possibility. There are many people today who are imprisoned by the opinions of others. They worry about who left them, who betrayed them, who didn't support them. They waste energy crying over doors that closed, relationships that ended, opportunities that slipped away. But listen carefully, when God allows something to close, it is because He is preparing something better. If you trust God, you will stop crying over what left and start rejoicing over what's coming. Because God never subtracts without adding. He never removes without replacing. He never allows an ending without preparing a new beginning. When you trust God, you stop panicking about the timing. So many people are tormented because they are impatient. They want the answer now. They want the breakthrough now. They want the healing now. But trusting God means trusting His timing. And His timing is always perfect. You may feel delayed, but you are never denied. You may feel like it's taking too long, but God is aligning things behind the scenes. He is moving people, shifting circumstances, preparing doors, and setting the stage so that when He acts, it will be undeniable that only God could have done it. Do not despise the waiting season, because in the waiting season, trust is forged. In the waiting season, you learn patience. In the waiting season, you discover what it means to depend fully on God. And when the breakthrough finally comes, it does not just bless you, it transforms you. It makes you a testimony for others. It makes you a light to those who are still waiting, still struggling, still crying. Maybe you are listening to this right now, and your heart is heavy. You are wondering, can God really fix my situation? Can God really heal my broken marriage? Can God really provide when the debt is so high? Can God really open doors when every door has been slammed shut? And the answer is yes. Not only can God fix your situation, but He will. Because God has never been defeated by human impossibility. What is impossible for man is natural for God. What is out of your control is always within His control. What terrifies you is nothing but dust under His authority. Stop magnifying the problem. Stop rehearsing the pain. Stop giving power to what is already under the feet of God. Instead, magnify the one who holds the universe in His hand. Magnify the one who brings the sun up every morning. Magnify the one who gives breath to your lungs. Magnify the one who opens the seas, moves mountains, and raises valleys. Because when you magnify God, your problem begins to shrink. When you magnify God, you stop trembling before men and start walking with courage. When you magnify God, you realize that your situation is not bigger than Him. There are some listening to me right now who are broken by past mistakes. You think God cannot fix your situation because you ruined it with your own hands. You made wrong choices. You trusted the wrong people. You took the wrong path. And now you feel like you are disqualified from His help. But hear this, God's mercy is bigger than your mistakes. God's power is greater than your failures. If you will humble yourself and trust Him, He will not only fix your situation, He will redeem your past and make your pain a platform for His glory. This is the difference between human effort and divine power. Human effort can only go so far. Human effort is bound by limits, by resources, by time. But divine power is limitless. Divine power is not restricted by your failures, by your past, by your enemies, by your lack. Divine power breaks chains, lifts burdens, restores years that were lost, and creates rivers in deserts. When you trust God, you place yourself under that limitless power. And let me tell you something, trust will always be tested. You cannot say you trust God without being put into a situation where your trust is stretched. Sometimes He allows the storm not to destroy you, but to reveal whether you trust Him in the darkness as much as you claim to in the light. Do not be surprised when trials come. They are not signs of abandonment. They are opportunities for trust. They are the places where God proves Himself faithful. They are the classrooms where your faith matures. So today, make a decision. Not tomorrow. Not when everything feels comfortable. Today, decide to trust God with every part of your life. Trust Him with your finances. Trust Him with your health. Trust Him with your relationships. Trust Him with your future. Trust Him with the things you understand and the things that make no sense at all. Because when you hand over everything into His hands, you will see Him move in ways that will leave you speechless. When you truly trust God, you stop measuring your future by the pain of your past. You stop looking at what happened yesterday as a limit for what can happen tomorrow. Because trusting God means you believe that no wound is too deep for Him to heal, no mistake is too big for Him to redeem, no mountain is too high for Him to move. The very thing that once brought you to your knees in tears can become the testimony that lifts you up in triumph. When God steps in, what once looked like a dead end becomes a doorway into a greater season of your life. But here is the truth. Trust is not natural to the human heart. Our instinct is to control, to plan, to calculate, to analyze every outcome. We want to know exactly how things will unfold before we feel safe enough to rest. Yet God calls us into a higher way of living, a way where we release control and place our full weight on His strength. Trusting God means walking even when you don't see the path, believing even when you don't feel the answer, holding on even when you feel like letting go. It is choosing to believe that His wisdom surpasses yours and that His plans is always greater than anything you could design for yourself. Do you know why God sometimes allows you to face problems that are bigger than you? It is not to destroy you. It is to teach you to lean on Him. If everything in your life could be solved with money, with connections, with skills, you would never need faith. You would never need trust. But when God places you in a position where no human help is enough, where no solution seems possible, that is when His power becomes undeniable. That is when you realize that trust is not an option. It is the only way forward. Trust is the bridge between your present struggle and your future victory. Without trust, you remain stuck in fear. Without trust, you keep circling the same mountain of anxiety. Without trust, you drown in despair. But with trust, you can walk through fire and not be burned, through waters and not be drowned, through valleys and not be lost. Because when your trust is anchored in God, the storms may rage, but they cannot shake you. The winds may blow, but they cannot uproot you. The darkness may press in, but it cannot consume you. Understand this: trusting God does not mean you will never face trials. It means trials will never have the final word. Trusting God does not mean you will never feel weak. It means your weakness becomes the very place where His strength is revealed. Trusting God does not mean you will never be hurt. It means that even in your hurt, He will bring healing, comfort, and restoration that far exceeds the pain. So many people think their situation is too complicated for God. They say, my debt is too big, my sickness is too advanced, my family is too broken, my mistakes are too heavy. But let me tell you this, there is no scale that can measure God's power. There is no equation that can calculate His ability. There is no problem that can stand as a giant before the Creator of the universe. If He can bring order out of chaos, if He can call light out of darkness, if He can set the stars in place and command the seas to stop at the shore, then surely He can handle your situation. Do not underestimate what God can do. Sometimes the greatest obstacle to your breakthrough is not the size of your problem, but the smallness of your trust. You see your situation as impossible, but God sees it as an opportunity to reveal His greatness. You see a dead end, but God sees the beginning of a new chapter. You see brokenness, but God sees the material for a miracle. That is why you must lift your eyes off the problem and fix them on the one who holds all power in his hand. There is another dimension of trust that many overlook: trusting God with the unknown. You may not know how things will work out, but you must believe that He already knows the end from the beginning. He is not guessing. He is not scrambling for solutions. He already has the answer prepared before you even face the question. Your worry does not add wisdom to His plan. It only robs your heart of peace. When you trust God with the unknown, you begin to live with a calm assurance that even if you do not see every detail, He is working out something far greater than you can imagine. And let me tell you this: sometimes God allows delays not to frustrate you, but to protect you. What you think is a setback may actually be a shield. What you think is a missed opportunity may actually be His way of saving you from disaster. You cry because the door didn't open, but you don't see that behind that door was harm. You panic because something ended, but you don't realize that ending was the only way to redirect you towards something far greater. Trust means believing that even when you don't understand, God's hand is guiding you, guarding you, and preparing you for something better. Trust in God is not just about waiting for Him to fix your situation. It's also about aligning your heart with His wisdom during the process. When you trust Him, you stop fighting against what He is doing and you start cooperating with it. You stop resisting the pruning, the stretching, the refining, and you start embracing them as part of the preparation for your breakthrough. Because every trial, every challenge, every delay has a purpose. Nothing is wasted in the hands of God. Some of you are wondering, why hasn't God fixed my situation yet? And I want you to hear this with clarity. Sometimes the situation is not changing because God is first changing you. He is strengthening your character, deepening your faith, teaching you perseverance, and preparing you to handle the blessing when it comes. Because what good is it if He fixes the problem, but you are not strong enough to carry the solution? What good is it if He opens the door, but you are not ready to walk through it? Trust means believing that even in the waiting, God is working for your good. You may be in the middle of a storm, but the storm is not the end. You may be surrounded by enemies, but enemies are not the end. You may be pressed down by burdens, but burdens are not the end. The end belongs to God, and He has declared that your end will not be defeat, but victory. When you trust Him, you begin to live with that unshakable confidence. You wake up in the morning not with fear, but with expectation. You go through challenges not with despair, but with determination. You face giants not with trembling, but with courage, because you know that God has already written the final word, and that word is deliverance. Trust is the most powerful declaration of your faith. When you trust God, you are saying, I refuse to be defined by what I see. I choose to be defined by what God has promised. I refuse to be controlled by fear. I choose to walk in confidence. I refuse to be paralyzed by the unknown. I choose to rest in the assurance that God is my protector, my provider, my healer, and my deliverer. That kind of trust shakes the very foundations of doubt and positions you for divine breakthrough. And never forget, trust is not just for the good times. It is easy to trust God when everything is going well, when money is flowing, when relationships are peaceful, when health is strong. But true trust is revealed in the valley, not the mountaintop. True trust is tested when the night is darkest, when the tears are heaviest, when the pain is sharpest. It is in those moments when you declare, even here, even now, I will trust God, that heaven takes notice. That is when your faith becomes a fragrance before Him. That is when your life becomes a living testimony of His power. My beloved, listen carefully. You may not understand everything happening in your life right now, but you do not need to. You only need to know that God is faithful. You only need to know that His hand has never failed. You only need to know that He sees what you cannot see, He knows what you do not know, and He holds what you cannot hold. Do not measure His power by the size of your problem. Measure your problem by the greatness of your God, and you will realize that what terrifies you is nothing compared to the one who created heaven and earth. This moment is not an accident. You are hearing these words because God is calling you to rise above fear and walk into a deeper trust. He is calling you to release what you have been holding onto so tightly. Your worries, your doubts, your sleepless nights, your broken heart, and to place them into His hands once and for all. He is calling you to stop living as if you are abandoned and start living as if you are carried by His power. So here is my challenge to you. Make the decision today, right here, right now, that you will trust God with everything. Not halfway, not in some areas while clinging to others. No, give it all to Him. Trust Him with your past. Trust Him with your present. Trust Him with your future. Trust Him with the things you understand and the things that make no sense. Trust Him when the path is clear, and trust Him when the path is hidden in fog. Trust Him in the sunshine and trust Him in the storm. Trust Him when you feel strong and trust Him when you feel weak. Lift your head, open your heart, and declare it boldly. I will not live as a prisoner of fear. I will not be ruled by despair. I will not be defined by my circumstances. I will trust God, and I will watch Him fix my situation. Say it until it burns within you. Say it until every doubt trembles. Say it until every fear is silenced. Say it until your spirit rises with unshakable confidence. Walk out of this moment with courage. Walk out with faith. Walk out knowing that God is already working on your behalf, already aligning things in your favor, already preparing doors you cannot see. Do not wait for tomorrow to believe. Do not wait for evidence to have confidence. Stand today as one who knows that when God is on your side, no darkness can prevail, no chain can hold you, and no situation is beyond His power to fix. The time has come. No more hesitation, no more fear, no more doubting. Trust God and watch with your own eyes how He turns your tears into joy, your weakness into strength, your lack into abundance, and your battle into victory. Let your life become a testimony that shouts to the world, those who trust in God will never be disappointed.